Hello and welcome to our daily Forex market analysis. My name is Derek Schimming, and this review is for Wednesday, March the 20th. Now we're coming just off the heels of the FOMC statement and Fed funds rate release, and then the FOMC press conference. These have an impact because they're not monthly events. As a matter of fact, the press conference is only staged 4 times a year with Mr. Bernanke in this way. So we did see a nice move in the markets, and I think it was really more of a continuation of what we've been seeing today in the market. And the reason I say this is we'll look at the currency strength chart, and you can see that from before the London Open, if you will, and I'll put this right about at 0. Get a bearing of where the open was right here. And there's your London Open time frame. So you can see that since the markets opened in London, that the Swiss here in white has been trending fairly nicely to the upside. The Aussie's flat, so I'm going to remove the Aussie from here and just get it down to 5 currencies: the dollar and the yen to the downside, then the euro, the pound, and the Swiss to the upside. But the Swiss, if you look at it, it really is the most consistent today, and also the euro. The euro made a little bit stronger move early on, went sideways, made another very strong move into New York and went sideways, and now it made another slight move to the upside, which is what we took advantage of today in trading. So let's look at the pairs themselves. Obviously the yen is moving the strongest to the downside. The dollar is relatively flat. It's had some moments where it wanted to move lower. It's obviously on below the 0 median line. But it hasn't really been trending down. So you see the consistency. So the most ideal has obviously been the euro yen and the Swiss yen to the downside. Also pound yen, but the thing about the pound yen, let me jump back for that just for a moment. The pound yen, when you see these hard turns in the view here, when you're looking at my currency strength chart, the beauty of this is it starts to move up and then it starts moving down. And so if you were going long because the euro was also moving long, that's understandable. Well, the pound pairs didn't work out. And then it starts reversing down, and about the time you bite in and the belief that it really is going lower, it makes this very hard turn to the upside. This type of behavior catches a lot of traders out. So when we start to see these little hook turns, we pause. Matter of fact, a lot of times you'll get out of the trade that you're in because of the risk of it doing this, and we'll wait to see, is it really reversing directions, or is it just a little pullback in the move, and then you can get into the trade. You see the same thing happened here. So even though the pound's been moving up to the upside, I don't think it's been very accommodating today, and most of the trades probably did not yield the results or the potential results that we saw with some of the other pairs. And that's in retrospect we're seeing that, but that is a fact. You can see that with the euro yen and the pound yen, we've had nice moves since the FOMC meeting or the press conference started, and even with the statement release and such. And those have been the most ideal situations as far as trades. Now, if we look at this euro yen specifically, and I'll put Swiss yen up as well. If you look at the euro yen, the move that went over 124, which is what I took advantage of, and some of the other traders in the room, because we know that 124 range, when we talked about that plenty in these videos, and so that was significant when it moved over 124. So this is where we took the trade after the release. This is coming right off the heels of the release. We let it make its move initially, started to pull back, set a little bit of a higher low, and moved higher still, and this was the entry point at 124.03. The maximum exit point that I had was at 41, which was 38 pips higher, which is a pretty decent darn gain, I believe, in less than 20 minutes time, which was the hold time. I think it was 18-minute hold time on the trade itself, which is I think above average. We saw the same thing out of the Swiss yen, and there were some decent trades out of the pound yen as well, but it was yen pairs long that produced the best results. Now we've seen the yen pairs pull back in here and starting to lift higher, so there is the opportunity for re-engagement, but this late in the day, you can see it here, look at the Swiss yen's doing the same thing, pound yen's doing it, and the euro yen is doing this. There's euro dollar in the top left hand of this quadrant. But you can see how they are all producing that little pullback that came below our integrated average range, stayed above the pivot, and although the Swiss yen's approaching, what is that going to be? R3, no, R2, excuse me, it's approaching R2, and this is R1 down here. It stayed above our D-line configuration, which is ideal. Matter of fact, this used as support, didn't quite get there on this one. So these are pulled back. The oscillators are now in line. It looks like another long trade, quite frankly, but I don't know if this time of day is conducive of it. So here's what I'd like to do. A couple things. Tomorrow we'll review the yen pair specifically and look at the euro yen, what's happened now based on all the movement and opportunities we've been taking advantage of. Now the tide really might be weighing and looking more likely to the upside move, and I'll explain why. We'll go over the review of the euro yen specifically, and I'll explain why now is the time to start changing your perception and looking for the strength to come back in that thing, and probably go test those recent highs in that 126, 127 and above range, which could create a great opportunity for us. As far as the balance of the day, now that the FOMC release is out, I think we'll allow the market to settle down a little bit and see what it brings as we go into Asia and on to London. If you have any questions, post them on these videos. Hit the subscribe button so we can be in contact with you from time to time. And if you want to use the email address or go to the web page to put in a request and come and spend a couple weeks with us during our guest periods. We're going to do a 2-week session coming up here in just a matter of just a couple of weeks, and I want to get you all registered who have the interest in attending. Some of you have sent in the request. We appreciate it. We'll be getting back with you soon. Others need to do that, and so go ahead and get those into us. info@fxrbc.com. info@forexrangebarcharts.com. fxrbc.com. I'm Derek Schimming with ForexRangeBarCharts.com. You guys, as always, have a great day trading.